Hello, my Teaserking family. Welcome back. We did our football class in the morning, and now it is time for Austrian economics. The only economics that matters, as the Keynesians and the MMTs and all these bullshit economics try to mislead you. So we're looking at gold, and it's just through the roof. Look how quickly it's gone from 26. Let me start again. Hi, my Teaserking family. Welcome again. Okay, so here is gold, 57. It is going through the roof a little bit at 26.24, and then it shot up to 26.57. It got to 26.64. I expect 27 by Thursday. I mean, maybe Friday, but the way this is going, there's not going to be a whole lot of down because nobody's stupid enough to go against everybody needing gold. Now we look at silver and it's 32.10. Let's look at the silver chart. And oh my God, it looks exactly the same. So at about 8 o'clock, it goes up, takes its run about 10.15 to 32.24. And that's where it's at now, 32.10 roughly. Big move. Now we can get to 32.50. We get to 45 because all the derivatives are set up here. Hence why I call it paper gold and silver. This has got absolutely zero to do with the market. This has nothing to do with buying and selling. This is all derivative. COMEX doing derivative, JP Morgan, playing options with our money, motherfuckers. So that's what we have here. Nothing to do with the demand. So all these BRICS countries buying gold, the ones that buy through COMEX do raise the price. Like this, I don't know why the price is going up. I think everybody's doing it. There might be some buyers buying off of COMEX. Most of them aren't. Silver, just about none of them are buying off of COMEX. They're all buying from the mines because there is no silver in COMEX and there's no gold in COMEX. There's not a lot of gold out anyway. If you're lucky to go to a store and find a few ounces, you pick it up. You're not going to see this price drop. It's 26.57. It's headed north. So silver, very soon. I'll show you this Andy Scheckman thing, who I don't like, but this one actually okay. He's not too bad at it. Where the demand for silver is gone, or the demand is there, the supply is gone. So you have to buy it somewhere else, which is higher prices. Like Luke with his brother selling Oregon, Ohio State tickets. Once the initial demand's gone, but once the initial supply is gone and then more people want for that game, because there's only, 90,000 people at Oregon. So the rest will come in through the secondary market. In other words, I want the ticket. Well, there's no more left. You have to buy it from somebody who already has it. And that's where these ticket dealers come in who scoop up all the tickets and then they go and, oh yeah, the yard line here. Oh, there's huge demand. I'm going to sell them for $5,000. They cost me $300. And that's what happens. It's so stupid. It really is just stupidity to allow these brokers who are only there to buy the tickets to sell at a profit is ridiculous. It should only be you want to go to the game, and you're limited to 4 tickets. I would kill the brokers. Sorry, Luke, but I think it's a joke because people want to go to the game didn't have to spend $5,000 on tickets. Now, if you bought the ticket and you want to sell it, and you limited to 4 tickets, you can't go. You got a wedding or something. You got the ticket packets. Fine, then you can sell it at whatever you want, whatever somebody will give it to you. That's perfectly fine. Let the market go. Let it be a free market item. And I get no problem with that. That's how it should be. So anyway, So that's what's going on. This is paper, gold, and silver. It's based on derivatives and options. It has nothing to do with free market. It's got nothing to do with all the people buying gold for the BRICS, central banks and shadow banks, and the people that are smart enough to buy it. If I went and bought 10 tons, it wouldn't even hit here. Wouldn't register. If we all bought 100 tons, it wouldn't even hit here. That's how stupid this whole COMEX is. We really have to blow it up and get to some sort of free market price for gold and silver and coffee and orange juice. This is absolutely freaking ridiculous. All right. So watching Andy, the Anvil Sheckman, and let's go back. This is big news from China. There will be no more silver available very soon. I sent this to Jenna and she says, I'm in the middle of a war in the Ukraine. I don't want to hear about fucking China. And I go, you missed the point. The point of this video is silver, not China. I go, watch the video and you'll see we got a lot of silver and it's been sitting, and she's getting frustrated. And now it's finally going to go. And she says, I don't care about silver. And I'm like going, I know you're in a fucking war. You won't leave. What do you want from me? What do you want me? But I'm telling you that since we have the gold and the silver to protect ourselves, that the silver hasn't moved yet. Now it's about to move. I said, that's the point. It's the silver, not China. The fact China has it or not. All right, so let's listen to Andy, the Anvil Sheckman, talk about no supply in China, which is going to drive up the price dramatically. Now let's talk a quick little bit about Austrian economics. How do things work? Well, as I've shown you, you have a 50 count Mahomes card. It's got to have a much higher value than a regular Mahomes card. Very low supply. It's Mahomes, so there will be demand. High demand, low supply equals high prices. The Rolex watches, the Mantle cards, the Brady rookie, the Jordan rookie, 500 grand. All those are based on that. Yes, Pat, silver's at 32, but after watching this, I think you'll be happy. All right. So in economics, if more people want, then there is a supply, the price goes up. And only then, I should say then and only then, because I wanted to use that line, that's how the price goes up. That's why I argue with these idiots about the gold price. If there's more demand for gold and the supply is, and there's not a lot of supply anyway. There's 250,000 tons, 32,000 ounces to a ton. Most of the central banks already have bought the James Bond 400 ounce silver, which is for the 400 ounce gold. They've already bought it. So therefore, what are you going to do with it? Right? It's already been bought. There's not a lot left. So the demand is the supply is out, basically. The demand is starting to grow as all these countries want to join BRICS. And that's why we'll see the gold go up. So anytime there's low supply and high demand, which is what we have in gold and silver, price should go through the roof. That is a normal free market economics, market-driven price, as every price should be, not market-driven. Hey, Greg and John, that's how the market should be. So that's the point of it. Therefore, this is how any market works. You have a low supply and a high demand, price goes up. That's just what happens. So in this case, the silver and the gold should be much more expensive. So we know they should be much more expensive. And that's the point of it. So with that, let's look at Andy Sheckman. But again, in a free market, as the supply is gone, the price goes up. They're holding the price down, but they can't keep holding the price down. It doesn't stay down. All right.
The U.S. Mint has already told us they're out of 10th ounce eagles. My guess is we won't see any new ones until 2025. We've been doing some really big orders lately. Seriously, some very big orders, and people have an affinity for Silver Eagles. We're already buying, allocations into October. At what point does the U.S. Mint say we're out of Silver Eagles until the end of the year? It's coming. It's going to be very close. And if I had to guess, and we're beginning to see that already, junk silver is becoming hard to get again. Silver Eagles are becoming hard to get again. And so the 10th ounce Eagles are gone. And at what point does it become a realization to the masses that they need gold and silver? By then, my guess, you will see product be very difficult to get. Premiums will pop up in a very material way. And I've been begging people for almost a year. Well, I go back to November 2023 when the premiums started to drop and the availability was great. That coincided really with this AI craze and the massive increase in Nvidia and even in Apple and in Bitcoin and all of this stuff that distracted people away from precious metals.
In today's news recap, Bank of America expects declining silver inventories to make the deficits count. The Silver Institute shows that the silver market has been in a deficit for the last 5 years. And during that time, we've seen substantial decreases in global inventories, which makes sense, as the metal has to come from somewhere to meet the shortfall. Yet, with no resolution to the gap in sight, as the deficits are widely expected to continue years into the future, a recent Bank of America report suggests that the declining inventories are starting to make the deficits count.
I don't know what that means.
Their report also commented on China's surging silver consumption, which has continued to grow in 2024 as their solar production has again exceeded expectations. And with governments calling for a tripling of green energy by 2030, the demand for silver is going to have to increase if the governments are going to get anywhere even close to meeting their targets. China has already shifted to being a net importer of silver. And we've personally talked with one of the larger silver producers who told us about how Chinese smelters have been going directly to Latin American silver producers and offering substantially reduced treatment charges because they're able to take advantage of the increased premiums in China. Now, we'll show you more clips of the latest interview, but first, smash the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you do not miss out our daily recaps.
Metric where the government gets to cherry pick what items go into this basket that they're weighing, and it's completely and totally nonsensical. And all along they're talking about reaching this arbitrary 2% inflation rate, which again I've never quite understood, because why not have it negative 2%, which lower the rate the higher the standard of living. But they're 60% away from reaching their rate of 2%, and they're pivoting and moving the other direction and reigniting the inflation engine. And if you save in dollars, as Rick Rule says, you're gonna be a victim, period. And so that what these countries have chosen to do is to accumulate assets. It goes back to what Zoltan Pozsar was saying, and he's right. This is a system of who has the commodities will make the rules ultimately. So that is what we're seeing. And you look at a country like Saudi Arabia, who's trying to play both sides of the aisle, at least for now, and not upset the West to the degree that we really probably should be if we knew what their ultimate motivations were. You can see it if you're paying attention. But this is, look, the fact that they got caught importing massive amounts of gold isn't the issue. The bigger issue to me is that there's a lot that they're not getting caught on. And these countries are realizing that holding money in dollars or wealth in dollars is a game that is coming to an end. And you can see that.
Okay, so this guy really doesn't know a lot about economics. And if he's quoting Rick Rude, he doesn't know anything. And the Zoltan guy, who's the guy from the Machines, in the Batman movie, the Yes No, silver moonshot is eminent. Well, so a couple things there. First of all, if you hold any of the fiat currencies, they keep printing them to zero. That's what they do. There's no limit, and you can't keep printing it to zero. If you hold any of these, they're worthless. They're all worthless. They're all toilet paper, right? This is heavily printed. This is heavily printed. anybody who holds this at, so this Zoltan Pozar guy who says, oh, hold metals, well, what a genius he is. Of course, you want to be in something that can't be printed. You can't print this. That's the point of holding gold and silver and why it's valuable. It's limited. It only comes out of the ground. There's not that much of it. And apparently, if you're going to use silver instead of for money, if you want to use it for these solar panels and electric car batteries, there's not that much and it gets used up, unlike gold, which doesn't get used up. So you're going to use up all these tons of silver in solar panels and electric cars. There's not going to be a whole lot left for money. So the price is going to be extreme. And, yeah, they're trying to keep the price down, but now there's too much demand for it that they won't be able to keep the price down. And the people are going to the mines to get it, not through COMEX. So, of course, anything in dollars, well, it's the Titanic I always tell you about. Everything in dollars goes to zero because they keep printing it, and you can't just keep printing. It's like I say, you can't eat a chocolate cake every day and not gain weight, not get sick. That's just the rules of the game. That's the rules of nature. Or if you drink too much and you drink, a fifth of scotch every day, your liver is probably going to go out and you're probably going to be in big trouble. So that's what happens. So no, you don't want to, I love how this guy doesn't know anything. He's got a quote. Why did you got to throw the name around? Do I throw names around? I throw Adam Smith around maybe, but, or Say's Law. I mean, but he's got to throw all these names out because he doesn't know, or are they paying him to say it? Maybe they're paying him to say it. So you'll go, who's this guy? Who's that guy? So I feel sorry for this guy because he seems nice, but he doesn't know anything. So if silver demand is, as he says, the price will go to the moon, because if the demand's there but the supply isn't, the price has to go up because I have it. I'm not going to, if I paid $30 for this, I'm not selling it for $30 or $35. I sell it at about $1,000 because that's the real value of it. All right, let's go back to him. But yes, anybody holding dollars is worthless. And of course, gold and silver can't be printed. So it always has a value. It's very logical. I don't need to throw a name around because I actually know that that's what it is. He doesn't. It's really strange.
By them lowering the front end of the curve and the back end, the rates go higher just by a little bit. But that's the rest of the world saying, nah, we choose to hold assets differently than any duration debt instrument by a broken and insolvent country. So I think the same thing should be true for everyone, that it's, you look at the wealthy people and they're not holding dollars, they're holding assets.
At the heart of the morning, a barista.
I gotta buy that. Stop these fucking commercials. These are
ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
That's what we're seeing on a much larger scale here. Look at all the countries that are intending to join. Look at Turkey. Look at Poland. These are countries that are massively accumulating assets, and yet they're Western-friendly countries. Look at a country like Turkey, who has applied to BRICS, the first NATO country to do so. They've been the largest buyer of gold for the last year. So, or right up there. So
China
these countries understand the place that we are at. The problem here is that most people in this country don't, and they're going to get run over by this. And I don't know what.
Well, there's nothing you can do. Most people in this country are not educated in gold because the government doesn't want you to know, to get out of the dollar, because they want all your money into the stock market, into the real estate trust. Like Attack on Wall Street guy. The guy wants to make his commission, and there's no commission in gold. So therefore, that's where you go with it. We are totally out of the stock market. We're totally out of the dollars. We just buy gold and silver. And that's it. But if you go to a financial advisor, stockbroker, or anybody else in America, they're always going to tell you, buy a mutual fund, buy a 4, get in your 401k, buy stocks, buy real estate trust, put your money in the bank and get 5% in an annuity. This is what they're going to tell you. And nobody knows. Doesn't matter how rich you are. Warren Buffett doesn't know. Gates doesn't know. None of these guys, these IT guys, don't have a fucking clue. So they don't know what to do. So they go to their financial advisor who makes commission off of them, who doesn't care if you lose. The guy on Attack on Wall Street, did he care that the guy lost $60,000? Not until he got shot, he didn't care. Oh, geez, Jim, sorry you lost. We all lost there, except for I'm a salesman and I make 10 times you make, and I could survive the loss. But you had your whole money in it. Yeah, I feel real bad for you. And then, oh, if you ever get any more money, let me put you in another big investment. I mean, what kind of nerve is that? Yeah, no, I lost your 60 grand, but oh, look, buy Apple, buy Amazon. So this is the problem. They don't make commission on gold and silver. They don't put you in it. They don't recommend it. They don't care about you. They only care about is their commission. And that's the problem with it. They just want their commission, and that's all they do. So that's where they put you. And that's why nobody knows. People are smart in this country. And in fact, they'll go to help. They'll go get help. And that's why I warn you, be careful who you get from. If you're not getting it from me and you're getting it from this guy, you're in big trouble. So be careful who you're listening to. The only other Austrian economics guy I found is Egon and Mark McGuire. Otherwise, there's nobody else I would listen to, because there's nobody, even here, Andy Schachman. Oh, you might like him. Seems like a nice guy, but he's stupid. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's a salesman, so he yaps and says nothing, like most salesmen do. So this is the key to it. So that's why you want to buy gold and silver, because they can't print them. And anything in dollars or in the banking is fucked. You're fucked. It's gone.
You and I can do, we've tried our best to sound the alarm. Either you see this for what it is or you don't. And the crazy thing is that I truly believe that the history that will be written about or the story that will be written about in textbooks and history books, we're right there right now.
All right, he starts wandering off. I'm not going to listen anymore. So did we talk about that the silver supply in China was limited? I don't know that he ever talked about it. He'll rumble on about stuff that don't make any sense. That's why I don't really like him and don't run. He starts being a salesman. He starts talking, but doesn't say anything. So again, in the U.S., so if this guy came to me and said to buy gold and silver, why would I listen to? Who are you? That's the problem he has. Who are you? Oh, I sell it. I work at a coin store and I sell silver and gold. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So all you're trying to do is get me to buy. That's why you need an independent like me. I don't own a gold or silver store. I am not looking to do anything. I just buy and buy and buy. So I'm not looking. I'm looking out for your best interest, because I don't have any skin in the game. I do not. I don't want you to buy mine. I don't want you to sell me yours. I don't want anything. I just want you to understand you can't print gold and silver and the dollar's out. That's what I want from you. Do you understand that? Well, I think most of the class does. Some of the people don't. When I'm at the gym, I get dirty looks and I just laugh at the people going, well, that's a shame. When the money goes out and you're holding toilet paper, I tried to warn you, but again, I can't warn you. If you don't want to, if you're too stupid to know who to listen to, I can't help you. And I think that's the problem in the US, because we are very independent. We are not socialists like most countries. So we have our own thoughts, and you've got to present it in a certain way and make them want to learn and make them understand how important gold and silver is. And that's the point. So if somebody like me who's independent, I don't run a gold store. My purpose is not to sell gold and silver. So right there, his credibility is shot, because that's all he is. And then he keeps going to other guys because he doesn't know, which is crazy. All right. Well, let's see if he ever does talk about China in here. Let's see, we're at the 5-minute mark. See, he gets into history books, current administration, get rid of dollars quickly. So he talks about nothing. Countries like Saudi Arabia are doing all they can to distance them because they don't want the dollar because it's worthless. They understand the dollar is worthless. The problem here, people here don't understand the dollar is worthless. So how can they ever do it? But I'm trying to figure out what this has to do with China and silver. Again, he brings up Rick Rude. Fed with 50 basis points really has nothing to do with anything as far as gold and silver is talks a little technical shit, but I'm not reading really anything about what the fuck's going on in China. Or did I miss it? Did he already say? Shanghai Corporation bringing in all these groups. See, he's good at making a title to get you to watch, but then he doesn't say what's in the title. My with the gold and silver should be massively higher already. What are you basing your opinion on? Do you understand this is derivative gold and not physical? Do you understand the physical gold price is higher? That's why in my title I put paper gold, because that's exactly what it is. It is not the physical gold price. Let's see. So silver's cheap. We know. All right, I I don't know what to do with this guy. He's not very smart. He seems very nice, but he ain't very smart. So we will leave him alone. This is drink 1 cup a day, and it's water, and you need more than 1 cup. She says drink 8 cups, but she doesn't say how big the 8 cups are. So is this considered 2 cups? Because this is 16 ounces. And then she says all major diseases are because we're dehydrated and we need more water, and you won't get sick. You just keep keep hydrated. Don't drink while you're eating, and have 8 glasses. And I usually throw ginger and cinnamon in them. Let's see. Wells Fargo has mass layoff. I have a hard time listening to this guy. So Wells Fargo has mass layoffs. IBM has mass layoffs. So there's all these companies they're laying off a lot of people. Okay, maybe. I don't know. I only see it here. I showed you the withdrawal of the banks in China. Again, I know Jenna doesn't care about China. Now here's IBM. 95 billion missing. Oops. Fired 288,000 employees. Now I don't. There's IBM, but he's got GM, IBM, Wells Fargo, and Cisco. So I assume he's talking about all 4 of the companies firing or laying off 288,000 employees. So if you don't think we're in a recession, we're in a recession. Are they replacing them with AI? It's never going to work. I had a talk with a guy in the pool yesterday about this whole subject. We brought up He works at GM. So what's happening is they're replacing painters with robots who paint, right? So what happens when they malfunction? So now you need an IT guy to monitor the robots. So let's say you have 9 robots and I'm the IT engineer that I have to keep an eye on that they're all painting green or blue or whatever the color they're supposed to paint. And they do it, and then off to the next one. And when they break down, I got to fix them. And when they, get overheated or they need a new battery or however they work, you can't run them too much. So everybody thinks, oh, that's a good thing. Like the company thinks that's a good thing. I won't have to pay for vacations and pensions. Yeah, but what the role switches to is the painter now goes to the IT guy. So you have one IT guy controlling, let's say, 9 robots. You've had to pay for the robots, which when do you get the return on investment for them? As a person, you catch things. I do that a lot in finance where I catch trends or I catch a $4 million error, as I've done before, where we got hit with 4 million and it wasn't ours. It was another department in the company, but not ours. And the AI won't even be looking for it. And the AI, is he going to look? What if somebody said green paint and it's blue? Is the robot going to catch that? Probably not. Would the programmer catch it or whoever's running them? I don't know. So to the point is, so these companies, they're trying to replace their employees with robots. And they think that's, I don't follow that. I mean, you can have machines like clean the floor by themselves, or as Bezos is doing in Amazon, where the machines go get the product off the shelf. Oh, this is in B22, and he goes and he gets it and packs it, and then they go ship it or something, as opposed to a person. Don't get too creative. They're thinking that because you have to check and trust the robot. Is he getting the golf clubs that the guy ordered, or is he getting tennis rackets or gym shoes or baseball bats? What is is anybody checking that he's got the right order? What if somebody put something in the wrong bin? Oh, I put the baseball cards in A32 instead of A33, and the robot will pick up the wrong thing. So be careful with that. It's not really a good alternative. I think it's stupid. I don't buy it. I don't believe in this. Well, they don't take vacations and get sick, because they sure as shit do. How many times have we seen like the battery on those robots, if you have a battery? So I go to work and I pull, potato chips off the thing, put them in. Okay. So you got to pay me whatever an hour. I drive to the work. I punch in, I pull the chips. I used to work at a grocery store. I stock the shelves, unload the truck, 8 hours. You paid me. So if you try to get rid of me with a robot, you're in big trouble. I mean, how is he going to mark the Coke 2-liter, put it on the shelf? He doesn't have arms. What if people have questions? I would get quiet. Where's the milk? Where's the tuna fish? The robot can't answer that, so you can't really deal with the public. I guess he could if you program it. So you've got to program all this shit in. And then what happens when his battery runs low? What are you going to do with that? Who's going to check that his battery's low? And he's going to stop working because he doesn't have a charge. Like in my phone. My phone's at 33%. Well, what happens? It goes to 5 and then out. Now you got to recharge me. Well, you don't recharge me. I take a little break and I'm ready to go. So there's a lot of stuff that the humans do, putting the pop in the right spot. And then if we don't have any, you got to put other stuff. You can't leave the shelf empty. So you put another pop in there. The robot's going to be, can you program the robot for that? And I take it all back to the football. Trying to program, try to do an analytics in football is impossible. Now, I know people will argue, I can do it. And it's impossible because there's too many variables, as I say. That's why I'm big on variables. You can't just do the variables, right? The variables are there's many, look at Cincinnati yesterday, variable. They had to win. They're down 0-2. Now they're down 0-3. And like I said, I'm not going to keep chasing them until they win. And when they win, they win. And they'll, should they beat Carolina? I don't know. All of a sudden, Andy Dalton looks like a star, and all of a sudden, Cincinnati is in the defense. I'm not going to keep chasing him. But the point is, that was a variable that wasn't in. Injuries are a variable that you can't. What are you going to do? 2 points because the guy's injured? How about if there's 3 guys injured? Oh, that's 6 points from the spread? I mean, it doesn't work like that because you can't tell how good the replacement is. So really what you're looking at is a lot of variables to use math on it. You need that human touch because we are critical thinkers, like the Titanic and what we do with gold. Because you get off the boat's sinking. Can the computer figure that out? Can you know, oh, the boat's sinking, we need to get on the lifeboat, and we need to know the lifeboat's gold. How the fuck is he going to know that? That's where I have the problem with AI. They can't think and they can't reason, and they can't see other variables that need to be picked up. And that's really the problem with them. So I don't know how the hell GM, IBM, Cisco, and Wells Fargo are laying off people. What is their solution there? So why did you have them? Did you not need them? Or are sales way down and you think getting rid of the people are going to help? Because you can't lower the cost, and that's my point. So GM really can't lower the cost of the price of the cars below what it costs them, right? The selling price. Like the guy at the ribs at the barbecue place. I mean, he's got it cost him X to make the ribs, but you can't sell them for 45 because nobody will buy them at 45. You'll have an empty restaurant. So you either keep your restaurant full or you empty it out, but nobody's going to pay $45 for a slab of ribs. First of all, it's too expensive. Second of all, nobody has that kind of money to buy a slab of ribs. I mean, when I go to the meat place, I went to the meat store Saturday. I wanted to get ribs for the football game. Not the meat ribs. You get like you get like 3 meats. It's like a bone. They're beef ribs. So I wanted to get 3, and there was nobody there. There was nobody to take my order. I waited 10 minutes with a ticket like an idiot, and there was nobody there. There was 1 or 2 guys working, and that was it. So I went to the fish shop, and I got salmon instead, which actually my feet have been giving me problems with meat, so I want to get the chicken and fish. But anyway, there was nobody there, so they lost out on a couple pounds of ribs because didn't have it. You didn't have somebody to take my order. So you're laying off people, which hurts your sales. But the market, if the ribs were $20, I wouldn't buy them. And it's just, they're too expensive because in my mind, this is still worth $5 or €5. I see the 5 on it. I think this is but what we all have to understand is this 5 is worth like 15 cents. It will not buy what €5 used to buy. It buys, like I said, about 50 cents worth of goods. Go to a grocery store, you get 5 items. It's going to be $25, not 5. Used to be 5, but not now. That's the problem. So really, that's what you need to understand. The value of the dollar is going down. So these layoffs that are coming, what are you doing? You're cutting your help, the critical thinkers, for what? Who's going to do their jobs? Is it going to be like the meat place, and then nobody can take my order, so you're going to lose sales? The jobs still need to be done because you're a business. So GM still needs finance people and IT people and everything else, but yet they're laying off. So really, there's people you should not lay off, which are accounting, finance, IT. You can't lay them off because you still need to do tax returns and budgets and forecasts and variance explanations. It still needs to be done if you're going to be in business. So they're laying off the wrong people. It should be direct labor, but I don't think it's direct labor at IBM or Cisco or Wells Fargo. There is no direct labor. Not like GM, where the people working on the car. So interesting times laying off all these people. Let's see. See, this one on brics finally did it. But when I started watching it, it wasn't finally did anything. It was going back. Oh, brics joined in 2011 and 2015. It did it. We already know that. We already know brics is Brazil, Russia, da 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 da. We don't need to fucking know every time you do a brics thing who the fucking countries are. And now they're more than 5. They are 12. And at the summit, they're going to be 22, on its way to 159. Eventually, 159 countries want to join brics because they're tired of the U.S. pushing them around, and they don't want to hold U.S. dollars. They want to hold gold. So what's happening is everybody sees this $36 trillion debt knowing the U.S. is fucked. Why do I want to hold the money? And that's why your stock market and the housing market and the banks are about to crash, because these people, people in the UK or people in China or people in Japan or Germany have extra money, have been putting it in the U.S. stock market or the U.S. bank. They want U.S. dollars. They think they're better than their own, which they're not. They're the same monopoly money that everybody else has. If it's Germany, if it's Britain, if it's Japan, China, Russia, the U.S., Canada, they're all playing with monopoly money. None of the money has value. But they don't tell you that. Just like they don't tell you to buy gold, they don't tell you that the money they're playing with is a joke. That's the hardest part. How do you tell somebody that? Hi, oh, Dr. Doolittle. Yeah, you make, you got $2 million. You know what? Where is it? Oh, it's in a 401k. It's worthless. How do you explain that to him? Because he's a doctor, or Luke's friends, whatever he does. How do you explain it to him that he'll listen? And then what's his response? Oh, I'm fucked. Yeah, you better go start turning that in for gold because you're fucked. You've got monopoly money. And this is where the problem arises, that they don't understand. You don't understand the dollars you're dealing with are worthless, and you don't understand to go into gold. Now, how do you explain it to people? Now, most people are greedy and want to make money, make a get rich quick scheme. I'll join Madoff because it's 15%. Do you know how Madoff works? I don't care. I just want the 15%. So he doesn't care. How about the crypto queen, the $1 queen? Well, she sold billions of dollars of fake OneCoin. Again, how can these people be this stupid? Because they don't know what they're doing. They trust this person. They don't even trust them. It's just, I'm going to make money. Oh, these OneCoins are going to be worth, even Bitcoin. Oh, I'm going to make $1 billion in Bitcoin. What a bunch of bullshit. Because even if you do, what's it valued in? Oh, yeah, US dollars. Oh, so it's valued in crap. So even if Bitcoin does go through the roof, you're holding dollars. It's still worthless. It's nothing but a scam. The only thing that isn't a scam is gold and silver. Everything in paper, you're fucked. It's not worth anything anyway. It never was. Once we went off of gold, that's why I kind of laugh at Egon, like, oh, 20 years ago. And I'm thinking you should have been in it 50 years ago if you'd have known as soon as they took it a dollar off the gold. Now, this is a lesson you teach your family and your friends and your kids. Anytime the dollar's off of gold, son, buy gold, no matter what the price is. And don't trust the dollar. It's worthless. I mean, that's the lesson learned here. That's what Bobby, if he's still alive, has to get into with his kids. Like, well, I can't go to the grocery store with gold. And my response is, you ain't going to the grocery store with dollars because they don't have a value. So once you realize that all these dollars don't have a value, and no, you can't print them. You can't just keep printing them with no impact. You got 36 trillion in debt. Don't say that's not a big deal. That's huge. So you're paying $1 trillion every quarter in interest. Where are you getting that from? Oh, we're printing it. Oh, so that makes the dollar worth even less. The demand for a limited asset and high demand forces the price up. That's why gold and silver are going up. Silver should be $1,000 an ounce, but it's being held back by JP Morgan because part of it is military. The Tomahawk and some of these missiles take 500 ounces of silver. So they need the price $30, not that. But you can only control it to a point. Eventually, you can't control the market eventually wins, the free market. That's what a free market is. So again, we trade it, right? I have something that you want. I have this, you want it. All right, let's reach an agreement. What will you give me for it? And then when we come to an agreement, and this is free trade, I trade it freely to you. We both come out ahead. I get dollars, you get the silver. But we've got to agree on a price. My price is $1,000. You won't give me 1,000 because you think it's worth 30. So you're not getting it. And as more people, as it runs out and more people own this and know that it's worth a lot more, are not about to sell it at $30 or $50 or $100. You're going to need to give me $1,000. And I know that's the real value of this, not the COMEX value, the paper value, because that's all derivatives. It's all bullshit. I'm not going to give this to you. So we don't make a sale, but once we kill COMEX and then once we get a real physical price of silver, then that's how it'll work. The problem is I don't want your money because your money's worthless. So to get my silver, I'm going to want a Rolex watch, or I'm going to want a Mantle card, or a Picasso, or something with that's an asset. And give me a Joe Montana rookie card. That's 110 grand. Okay, I'll take that for the silver. But I don't want money for it because the money's worthless. Right? That you have to understand, that's the basic concept. The money is worthless. But how do you explain it to people? I mean, we know it because I'm teaching you. But how does a guy you meet at the corner, you go to Kroger's, you see somebody and I start talking, well, do you have any gold? And they laugh. No, I got my money in Amazon or Apple or whatever. And you go, well, it's worthless because it's in dollars and it's the dollar's worthless. And they're going to roll their eyes at you. And but you're right. This is the frustrating part. We know we're right. We know gold's the answer, and it's the only answer. It's the only lifeboat in the show, gold and silver. So how in the hell, wherever you else got your money in, you're going to be broke? So how do you explain it to somebody who's not going to catch it? The biggest way I do is I say, well, gold was $32 an ounce in 1971, 72. Whenever they took us off of gold, it was $32 an ounce. So took 32 of these. So if you had 32 of these, you could buy 1 ounce of gold. Now the price is $26.70 for 1 ounce of gold. The ounce of gold hasn't changed, but now it shows you how bad the dollar has gone down. It now takes $26.70 to buy the same ounce of gold you could have bought. Now the value of the dollar is way different. Back then, the dollar, so it's probably very close to what it is, because a dollar back then really bought you a lot, and the dollar now is so beat up and worthless. It's probably close. So this is, if you convert this back to 1972 and the $32, you're probably not far off from $32 right now. It probably hasn't gone up too much because these dollars have gotten killed. And that's the point, that the dollar, it takes more dollars because they've been printed to death and they're worthless. So not that gold's still worth 32, but if you had a $1971 or $72, you'd probably still take $32 to buy it. But that dollar's gone and replaced by this garbage that has no value at all. So that's the point of it. So it needs $2,670 today. Tomorrow it'll be $2,700. Next day it could be $2,800 to buy the same ounce ounce of gold. This is the problem. And that's why you hold the gold, because you can't print the gold. So it's the same amount of gold then that there is now, except for 3,000 tons every year. All right. So there's a little bit more tonnage out there that gets eaten up real quickly. And that's how you kind of explain it. That's the best way I know to explain it. It took $32 back then, and now it takes 2,670, and it's still an ounce of gold. The ounce of gold hasn't changed, but look how much how much money you have to pay for it. That is the inflation. That's the value of the dollar. Then you might have a chance of getting people to understand how fucked they are if they don't own gold and silver. Now, I love when they say gold's not an investment. As I keep saying, so gold was at 2,500. Now it's at 2,670. All right, so it's up $170. And you own 50 ounces. So it's 50 times 170. I should do, 50 times 200 would be $10,000. So it's about 7,500. You just made 7,500 in about 2 weeks in your not investment in gold. So your 50 ounces are now worth a lot more than they were 2 weeks ago. How is it not an investment? These people are so stupid. Granted, the dollar's not worth anything, but what choice do you have? You either stay in the dollar, stay in the bank, stay in the stock market, or you get the fuck off the Titanic and you get into gold and silver. So there's no choice. You have to get out of the dollar or watch it go to zero. So that's your first thing. So Luke's friend, who's got $4 million in his 401k, it's not worth anything, but he doesn't know it. And how can Luke explain it to him? He really can't, because the guy doesn't want to listen. He's rolling around with $4 million, doesn't want to listen to the fact that it's worthless. Those are the people that are really going to get fucked, because they're not used to being penniless. The poor people are with it. And I really hate this middle class, low class, high class bullshit. What are we, India? We're not on a caste system. We make certain amount, depending if if you're Bobby, you made all this money playing baseball, or you're some famous actor Brad Pitt, who makes millions of dollars. Most of us kind of work at, maybe you work in IT, maybe accounting and finance, maybe you're in legal, or maybe you're more physical, you're a plumber, you're an electrician. You're not a middle class, upper class, lower class. What is that? That's just made up to get you to be jealous of the other, because people are jealous. Oh, you've got, what are you jealous of LeBron James because he makes $50 million a year? Why are you jealous of him? If you could do what he could do, you would make $50 million. But you're not 6'10", and you're not a basketball player, so you can't. So why would you be jealous of him? Or these other actors or the entertainers? He's an entertainer, so the movie stars and that are entertainers. They make what the market will bear, which is fine, but they're not first of all, they're idiots. They don't have the background to speak economics, gold, or politics, or anything else. They don't really have that skill set. You're an entertainment. You're a joke man, right? That's all you are, is a joke man. People laugh, or they, see you do a movie, and okay, great. Let's go to the movie and see Brad Pitt do something. Okay, great. Doesn't mean he's got a brain in his head. He's just an actor. Means he's a liar. All actors are liars. They pretend. They live in fantasy. They pretend to be this character. They pretend to be that character, and they go lie about it. This is how I picture this character to be. But they're not really being themselves. They're just acting. So they get paid. That gives them what? Upper class or high class? It's all bullshit. They couldn't do what I do. None of them could. That's the problem. Could I act? Sure. It's not hard to act, but it's very hard to be an economist or handicap football games. Very few people can do what I do. And I'm talking on maybe two hands in the world can handicap like I can. And how many Austrian economists do you hear? Like, none. Can we find any? Maybe Egon, if he's not a banker, he's actually an Austrian economist. So, I mean, there's very few people that can do what I do, but I don't consider myself upper, middle, or lower class. I'm the professor. That's it. So I don't really like that. The skill set should be based on what the market will bear. So everything should come back to the market. It's going to be good to see the government go belly up. When the dollar goes out, all these government employees go bye-bye. It's sort of like the orcs in Lord of the Rings. When they finally kill Sauron by throwing the ring in the fire, all the orcs disappear, right? They all go away. And that's what's going to happen here. When the dollar goes away, all these government employees will just melt into the ground, because how are they going to get paid? There is no revenue from them because none of their jobs produce revenue. You work for the Department of Defense, the military, the post office, any of it, you're not creating, there's no revenue being created. This is one of the big problems with the government. They're not generating revenue in anything they do. Public school, no, they don't building a road. There's no revenue there. That's why it all should be done private, and then let them pay for themselves. That's how a market works. Competition would come in and clean it up. So we want to have a school. We want an Austrian economics school, and we're going to teach how to bet football games and Excel and math and gold and all that stuff. And we'd have 1 million people sign up, and then we'd start getting competition from other people that understand gold or Austrian economics or anything else. And then we'll charge so much and they'll charge so much, and we'll be in business because we gave the public what they wanted, like every other business. Canadian Club, coffee, chicken, chocolate, tuna fish. It works because people are willing to pay for it. And therefore, if you produce it, you have a demand for it. And the goods that are not, you can't sell, it's because there's no demand for it. It's as simple as that. So really, that's the whole point of it. This is why the government continues to fail. There's no point in it. Anyway. So that's what I got on the videos. This Andy Scheckman, it's very hard to watch. I hate when these guys come out like Jim Rickards and says, "I told you so. In 2 days, this is going to happen." And 2 days go by, nothing happens. And, they just do it for the gimmick. They're just trying to make money on YouTube and just put a title in that they don't understand. What kills me is when I watch another show and they start quoting, well, Jim Rickards said this, and Joe Bob said this, and OW said this. And you're like, who gives a fuck? These are idiots. These people don't know what they're talking about. So be careful who you talk about. At the end of the day, the dollar's worthless, and gold and silver are the only lifeboats. And silver is becoming very, very rare because they are using it on the solar panels and the electric car batteries and the Tomahawk missile. And guess what? It wears out once you use it for the solar panel. And that's how many charges does it last? Then you got to replace the silver. And now with this green thing of by 2030, you need solar panels, everywhere. Well, you need silver for that. And it's not something that there's that much of, not like, anything else. So silver's about to explode if this Andy guy is right about it being very, it's gone in China, which I don't believe. He makes a weak case. He says it so you watch the video so he can make money on it, but he doesn't back it up with any details. He never really says, okay, maybe it's slowing down. It's almost out. Okay, maybe. I understand that, but I don't buy that it's totally out yet. It's headed that way. But until we blow up COMEX and get it over 32, it ain't. Now, if we see it hit, once we see it go 35, 40, 45, 50, and for some people, for some reason, people think 50 is as high as silver can go. Why? Everything else is through the roof. Did you ever think you'd see Coca-Cola 2 liters at $2.95? Did you ever think you'd see Fritos at $5 a bag for 9 ounces? Did you ever think you'd see that? Of course not. Nobody did. That's the point. See, well, it's been paper. It's been a paper price since 1972. It's never been a physical price. This is what I want to sell it for, and so I'll buy it. Did you ever think you'd see a Jordan rookie card for $500,000 or a Mantle PSA 9 1965 card for $80,000? Did you ever think you'd see baseball cards at that price? Of course not. A lot of it is because the dollar's not worth much, but the other is with the grading, you are assured you're getting a graded mint. It's a real card, and people will spend that kind of money on it. And that's really this. So you know what is going on. And that's the idea. So silver should be about $1,000 an ounce at least, if not more right now, if it was free market and not suppressed. Again, it's paper silver that's $50, not real silver. And it's very limited, and people have shitloads of it. And so they don't really know how much is there. They don't know how much is out, and they don't know how much is left. But from that one video, it said there was the drought, right? It said there's a drought of silver in the one we watched for 10 years now. There's more demand for silver than supply in COMEX. That's why they're going to the mines. So what's that going to do with price? You have huge demand and you have very low supply. Price has to go to the moon, yet price hasn't moved. You have major inflation, which means that you're printing the dollar and the dollar has lost its value. So how could the silver price still be $30 if you have mass inflation and the dollar's worthless? Right? As the dollar loses the value, it takes more dollars to buy the gold. And why isn't it taking more dollars to buy the silver? That doesn't make any sense. So with that said, excuse me. So with that said, why is silver $30 when clearly the dollar has been inflated, meaning the more supply has made it worth less? Necessarily means prices go up. It just means it takes more dollars because the dollar's lost its value to buy things, but you can't just raise prices if the market won't allow it. So normally you lay off workers if you're a business. Well, we're only going to run with 5 workers instead of 10. I can't raise prices. So it takes more dollars to buy things, but it doesn't really have anything to do with cost. Cost should go up because it takes more dollars to buy it, but the cost is not. It's the money printing and the value of the dollar is dropping. So when they're talking about inflation, like by using prices, what they're saying is, well, the dollar, the purchasing power of the dollar, this is the Keynesian view, the MMT Rickards view. We're measuring the purchasing power of the dollar. So we look at prices to see what the dollar can purchase. We don't really know what inflation, what causes inflation. And I have to stop reading at that point because I realize these are a bunch of fucking idiots writing this article. No, the inflation's caused by printing too much money and making it lose value. That's hence the term inflation. You inflated the supply of the money. So if you've done that, you've made the value of the dollar worse. But you can't measure it in prices because you can't just raise prices. Again, as I said, the market won't allow it. You can't make a steak $50 an ounce or a pound. What is it, an ounce? Yeah, it's a pound. I think it's pounds. You can't just raise it, or others they do it because people won't spend that much. That's why you can't use prices, but you can use the purchasing power. And the best way is to look at gold going, it was 32, now it's 26.70 for the ounce versus 32. Yeah, it's lost a lot of value. and that you can do. So everybody wants bricks because if it's gold-backed currency, it can't lose its value, and that's what you want. You don't want a currency, and all paper currencies are basically the same. They all get printed and they all lose their purchasing value. And so if here comes gold, all the dollars are fucked, because how many dollars am I going to need to buy a gold-backed currency thing, right? It's going to cost me $1,000 to buy, a golf ball, because it's priced in gold now. So gold will lower the price to the gold price. And if you're dealing in dollars, you're fucked. The dollar will get killed versus gold. So we don't have much time left. We got, what is it? We got basically 28 days left. And that's what they're not telling you. However, if you have Rolexes or you have Mantle cards or you have Picassos and other baseball cards and gold and silver, you're fine, because your value will hold. Your Rolex that's 100 grand now will still be valuable, but it won't be 100,000 anymore, because that's priced in dollars. It's what will it be worth in gold, but it'll be a lot. Let's say it's worth, maybe $100,000 Rolex is now worth 5,000 gold-backed currency. And you'll think, God, I lost a lot. No, you didn't, because that's a lot of money. That's how it works, because the gold, you can't fuck with it. So that's really where you're at. Now, I don't know what we'll do when the gold comes out. Will the gold price still keep going? So in other words, we're seeing it go up to 3,000 to 3,500 to 4,000. And they come and say, okay, we're backing the gold-backed BRICS currency by gold, and gold at the value of, let's say, 4,000. Okay, so they back it at 4. Now what happens? But people still want to buy gold. So does it now, because of demand and we killed COMEX, go up to 5,000 to 10,000? That's what should happen. It should still be like, you can back the currency by a Rolex or by Mantle cards, but it's still, you can still do it, but it won't, they'll still have the value, but they can still be bid up. Like, oh, I'll pay, you get 100 grand for the Mantle card or 200 grand for the Mantle card. Well, that's what it's worth. So I don't know that you stop it. I know Zimbabwe did it where it's not fixed, it's variable. So whatever the gold goes to, their money becomes worth more and more. And I would think that's what the Russians want to do with the BRICS currency. They got all the gold, they want it to go up. So we will see. Anyway, so you really have to, if you don't understand the basics. The dollar's worthless. The euro's worthless. The British pound's worthless. The Swiss franc's worthless. The Canadian dollars are worthless. That poor guy who bought the house, right? So he sold his house for 500 grand, making 250, and then put 400 grand into a $700,000 house near Quebec. He's getting killed, because what he doesn't understand is it's priced in dollars. It's not worth anything. He could have had it 400 grand in gold, which would not have gone down in value, would have went through the roof. He'd have made a fortune. Instead, by putting his money into the house, it's still in Canadian dollars or US dollar, whatever dollars, and therefore it's worthless. Now the house will be worth something, but people are still going to give him an ounce or two of gold for the house. Maybe they don't want to. So that's the point. So your assets, you got a Mercedes, you got a Ferrari, they're still going to have a value, but it won't be in dollars anymore. So you got a $400,000 Ferrari, forget about it. It's going to be priced in gold. So it goes to zero, and you're sweating, going, I paid 400 grand for it. With what? Well, with US dollars. Well, there is no more US dollars. It's going to be in gold. And how much is it worth in gold? Then the free market must take over. Well, let's see. I want to see a car. Do I have any bidders? I'll give you an ounce of gold. Maybe somebody gives them 2 or 3. Maybe it ends up at 3 ounces. but gold won't be 100,000 an ounce because there won't be money to do that with. So get that concept down. Silver is $32 an ounce, but it goes away. When the dollar goes away, this now becomes money and is worth. Now we got free market for it. Whatever somebody will pay you for it. And it won't be in dollars, although we need a medium of exchange. So it's going to be in USD number 2, or it'll be in gold-backed currency. Hopefully gold-backed currency, because US dollar 2 or CBDCs are worthless because they're just fiat money and they're still the same bullshit. They're still monopoly money. Just because it's a CBDC doesn't mean it's got a value. Money not backed by anything is worthless. They're just playing this derivative game and all these option games. They're just games with nothing. There's nothing backing it up because there's no money in it. So it's all just a joke, right? So beware of that. But you got to get out of the dollar. You have no choice. It's collapsed. You can still go to Kroger's with it, so you're confused. Well, wait, I got money in the bank. How about my stocks? And I got, my car. And, what do you mean it's worthless? It's because it's not worth anything. Like I say, it was $32 for the ounce of gold, is now $26.70 for the ounce of gold. If the money didn't lose its value, why is it so expensive for gold? Because the dollar lost all its value because you printed it or inflated it. So when they're looking at CPI for inflation, just roll your eyes because it's bullshit. That's not how you measure inflation. It's not. You're not really trying to grow GDP. It's got nothing to do with that. It's just simply you can't fuck with the money. You can't make the money worthless, which is what they're doing. So I'm debating about calling one of these senators that I see on TV harassing these moron Biden people and telling him, do you realize that we are broke? Do you seem like a smart guy. Do you get that we're broke? Because they're in deep doo-doo, right? But they don't understand it. They all look at prices, and it isn't prices. It's not what it is. Because all the prices can't go up and they don't measure everything in the pool. There's so many goods and services that you can't price them all. So why would you think that's the answer to inflation that you can't measure in the first place? All right, my friends, my family. I think that's about it. What else did I put in the title? Paper, gold, silver headed north fast. Brics October. So Brics October 22nd. I know it just says Brics October 22nd. I know it just says Brics October. So I'm not sure. So that's the summit, October 22nd, where they'll announce the gold-backed currency, which will kill the dollar, which is what Russia wants because he's tired of the war. This is the problem when you do shit like we're doing with the war and the sanctions. Nobody wants it. You're pissing people off. And all that hurts is you because they have the gold. China, Russia, India, Saudi Arabia, they have the gold. You can't threaten them anymore. What is the CIA going to go kill everybody in Russia? Because this is what they do so well, our own Gestapo. It's really terrible that we have all this shit that we need to try to control people with force. If you just be nice to people and work with them, you wouldn't have any of this issues. I know there's always a Sauron out there. There's always the bad guy, but you have rules for that. Anyway, let's take one last look at our gold price. Boom, ba-da-boom. $26 56.58 up 31. Silver 32.15. 26.58. Nice little stairway up. And I would expect nothing more tonight and tomorrow, but a little more stairway up. No football tonight. We got Thursday football. I've just started looking. So I bring in my new statistics to analyze, and then I go start analyzing them, which helps me. I get a little fooled because it's only a few weeks into the season. Depending on who they play, might fool you into thinking how good their offense or defense is. So you got to kind of take that into consideration. Anyway, www.teaserking.com is get a hold of me. My email's there. Get my football if you want to join the class. There's a college class Friday, 7 to 8. We go through all the picks of the Saturday picks. And then after that is an NFL class. So I'll go through all my Sunday picks and then have a brief class Saturday and Sunday. If there's anything that we need to talk about, is Cam Rising playing or stuff like that. We got a great game this week. Alabama, Georgia. Very, very good game. Better than anything in the pros. This will be a very interesting game. I don't know how to play it. There is revenge for Georgia, so we'll have to see. But anyway, so that's what's going on. Silver's in short supply. I didn't really get out of Andy Scheckman. I'm not quite sure, except for he says the supplies are really short. Well, we know that, but it's been short for 10 years now, apparently. So what is he telling us? Anything? Does he ever tell us anything? So that's where we're at with him. We know it's limited and we know it's paper price and we're going to buy physical. So when my friends or people ask me, it's buy the physical. You never want to buy an ETF. You want to buy that. You never want to buy a stock. You want to buy physical. Because the gold just went up doesn't mean the stock went up. And in the ETF, it's paper, so it's worthless. So even if it goes up and they manipulate the shit out of the ETFs, you don't make any money at it. And so you want the physical because let's say you bought why did you buy the ETF? Because you thought you owned physical gold? You don't. Try to get it. Yeah, you'll never get it because there isn't any. It's just a Ponzi scheme. ETFs are Ponzi schemes. Stocks, okay, so you think the silver miner stock, okay, so gold's going through the roof right now. Is Newmont Mining going through the roof? I don't know. I don't check it. I don't think so because the stocks are just it's just a big eBay where depends if people want, if they bid up the stock. If they're just interested in Apple and Amazon, they're not going to bid up silver mines and gold mines. Even though they're maybe undervalued, doesn't mean shit. It only goes up if people buy. And if people aren't buying it, it ain't going up. And more people are going to sell it because they're going to need money than people are buying right now. Therefore, everybody's running the physical because you can't fuck with it. So anyway, so that's where we're at. So I'm going to have dinner. www.teaserking.com. Good luck. Have a nice night. Take care, everybody.